A very good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And Christopher Mutsvangwa, during a press conference, made some remarks which are worthy our discussion. We need to take a look on what he said because this carries a lot of weight.
People of Zimbabwe, we want to hail them. I also want, on this occasion, to give a pat on our state apparatus. It came out in full force to protect peace and order. And they proved that they are not a joystick for political daydreamers. This is a state apparatus born out of the pain of war. It knows its allegiance to the people of Zimbabwe. And somehow there was a belief that it is akin to any of the post-colonial inherited armies of Africa, which can be commanded from London and from Paris to go to State House and remove leaders. It does not work like that with our army. It is a revolutionary army steeped in the traditions of the people of Zimbabwe. It is not the army of Mobutu Sese Seko. It is not the army of Idi Amin. It is not the army of Bokassa. It is not the army of Ironsi and all those wayward African military leaders who pander for foreign interests at the expense of the people of Africa. No, it is not. And the president, to make sure that the state of apparatus was in safe hands, he made dramatic changes in the structure of our state apparatus. I want to congratulate the new leaders who were put in place as we approach 31. And they've proved their mettle by making sure that they are loyal to the President of the Republic, that they defend the interests of the people of Zimbabwe, and that they keep the professional traditions of our state apparatus intact. It is well respected all over Africa. So heads off to General Matatu. And congratulations too, as I say, heads off. Heads off to Comrade Shepard Mtamba at ZRP. And heads off to Director General Fulton Mangwanya at CIO. They assumed office in the nick of time at very short notice, and they proved their worth to the people of Zimbabwe, to the president who appointed them in those posts. And they made sure that Zimbabwe remains orderly and peaceful on what was supposed to be a fateful day. This is a salutary lesson to those who harbor the idea that they can personalize the Zimbabwe army. It is not. Why would you want to say that you somehow believe that you own the Zimbabwe army simply because you survived a war? Do we now assume that when we were fighting, you were trying to keep your life safe for the day when you can aspire to power? And how are you keeping your life safe? Because in war, it's a lottery of life. Anything can happen to you at any time. I went through that war, particularly for us who were in Mozambique. You cannot aspire to be president of the Republic of Zimbabwe in a war because you never know when you are going to die. You are much more preoccupied with the task at hand to fight for the freedom of the country. Now, if you begin to have illusions afterwards that you are anointed to become the leader of Zimbabwe simply because you survived that war, maybe you begin to question credentials. So those who were trying to think that the army of Zimbabwe can become a platform for the seizure of power, they have been proved wrong. That template does not apply to Zimbabwe.
So this is Christopher Mutsvangwa, and he said all these words during today's press conference. And when we look at these whole issues, number one, he starts by saying the military is not a joystick for political daydreamers. Who is he referring to? On the end of this video, he mentions the issues about the credentials of some people. He mentions about somebody who is harboring ambitions to become a president whatsoever. This is what he's mentioning. And we are asking questions. Who are you referring to? Because the only person right here, Comrade Geza, if we are to look at it in a broader picture, Comrade Geza does not have ambitions to become president. He doesn't have the ambitions whatsoever. And also, another issue is that even though he had ambitions, there are some people who are ready and willing to take over power. So Comrade Geza is the last person right here in the power matrix. Who is this person is referring to as the person with ambitions to take over power? And we all know in the last audio of Christopher Mutsvangwa, which we talked about right here, he was actually talking to VP Chiwenga, is responding to VP Chiwenga. And he says that is the reason why we start to question credentials. In his audio, he questioned the credentials of Vice President Chiwenga. And in the last press conference, which he did before this one, he validated the credentials of Comrade Geza. So if you look at the validation of Comrade Geza's credentials as an intelligence supremo, as a war collaborator, as a war hero, a war veteran, and also as a man who worked so hard for the coming up of projects like Manize. When you look at it, then talks about the issue of credentials. He is probably referring to VP Chiwenga. But what is very, very important in all this is that he says that the president made the changes within the CIO, the police, as well as the military before the 31st to avert a fateful day. So he's claiming that if those changes had not been done, Mnangagwa would be out of office by now. This is plain language from Christopher Mutsvangwa. What it means is he's actually pointing fingers to say the military was planning a coup. That is what he's claiming right here. And the major question is, if the military was planning a coup, why is it that there is no action from Emerson himself as the president to deal with the people who were coordinating such a coup? Why are they after Comrade Geza if the military or the police and the intelligence services were indeed planning a coup? He went on to praise three people, General Matatu. He went on to praise the CIO director as well as the police commissioner general. But he does not shower any praises to the Zimbabwe Defense Forces commander. Is the Zimbabwe Defense Forces commander being accused of working together with the others? That is something which is very, very important right there. There is no credit whatsoever to the ZDF commander, who is the overall commander of all the forces which were mentioned. So we go back to the issue of the fateful day. What was the fateful day? What does he mean? So these are very important questions being raised from whatever which Christopher Mutsvangwa has said. So this is a confirmation that a lot is happening within ZANU-PF, and Comrade Geza is not actually working alone, but he had some powerful people working with him, which means the game is still on. We wait to see whatever which is going to happen. We wait to see the game plan of Comrade Geza and others. How are they going to deal with this? Because the battle line has been drawn. I don't think kuti apa pane nyaya dzekunzi tichadzokera kumashure kana tichaita sei. Yatongowo nyaya yekuti forever kusvika zvanaka. I believe that is what they are going to do, because if they fail to do so, it's definite that they are going to go after them. General Tombwe, thank you very much for coming. Says Anze, we know chigemu ichi. It's a prepared speech. Vakabatwa panonaka. Ungatwa police commissioner anonzi comrade kushaiswa chiremera chaiko. Teachman, thank you very much. Kanzika sonkaya kawingi kekuti padzinotungana dzimudanga mawana nengatanga. Okay, thank you very much, Gibbs, as well, my brother, for coming and for acknowledging us. So this then brings the whole thing into a place. Chamisa aifanira kukwana papi? Imi muri kutaura kuti mageneral akabviswa ayo ane zvaakanga achironga. Chamisa maida kuti azokwana papi? So this is something very, very important, and time is going to tell. Remember, Comrade Geza said he is coming tomorrow so that he will give direction. We will be waiting to see whatever which is going to bring. Glod says Geza ought to have first mobilized and organized everything before he threatened Mnangagwa's removal. My 7-year-old son question to the announcement of removal was, are coups ever threatened? Okay, you know, a lot of people are asking to say, why was the threat given? A lot of people are asking the same question, but they know the best. They know whatever which they are doing, and probably kune zvimwe zvinhu zviri kugadzirika zvichibikika. Unomboziva kuti what I want to tell you is, when God is working something, even the people who will be strategizing vanogona kufungidzira kuti zvimwe zvinhu hazvina basa, up until vazoona kuti zvine basa. Vanogona kufungidzira they are in charge, up until vazoona kuti they are not in charge. So I believe kuti whatever which is happening is going to lead to the total destruction of ZANU-PF. Isusu ndo zvatiri kunamatira. ZANU-PF iri kufanira kungonzi aiwa hakusina chinhu chinonzi ZANU-PF, iri kufanira kungonzi yaparara. That is the news which we want to hear going forward. Thank you very much, everyone. Bire, my sister, thank you very much as well for coming and for joining us. Let us meet in other episodes as well as other broadcasts.